and in due time, a more successful captain of the PNP team during 14 years of unprecedented victories and remarkable accomplishments. No matter the age, there's always a price to be paid for political opportunism. Remember, only grave diggers start at the top. There are many young and ambitious adolescents who wish to climb hurriedly to the top of the ladder, and to do so without the benefit of sober apprenticeship. When they do so in a party which is bereft of ideological content, they soon discover that once they challenge the internal status quo, their path is blocked and they are thrown immediately under the bus. The PNP is proud of its record to stimulate the flow of ideas and to welcome pulsating contests for any political office, including even those who run against me as chairman. The truth is, yesterday's revolutionaries often become tomorrow's models of orthodoxy. Several of those who were once rejected by the Politburo for ideological impurity have eventually found their niche as captains of business, while others suffer little discomfort sitting in their bureaucratic chairs today. I have to apologize for not having been obedient to the orders for the dress code. I was determined to put on business formal and had gotten out all my threads, but I was telephoned and told, to do it, you might not survive in this heat. And I also feel that by dressing as I am, I will be causing people like Daniel Buchanan to be turning in his grave. Every arm of the party or affiliate of the party has to accept the supremacy of the party's constitution. That is non-negotiable. Its principles and objectives must override all else if the unity and purpose of the party are to be maintained within a plural and democratic structure. If at times there appears the semblance of chasm, the source and cause can usually be traced to breaches of discipline or departures from established procedures. When there's a breach of party discipline, the constitutional provisions for hearing and appropriate sanction must be applied. Over the years, successive party leaderships have accepted the sincerity of the YO position. The YO has every right to resist any attempt to compromise on the party's principles and objectives, or to complain when it seems too slow in advancing the agenda for social and economic change. A dynamic party cannot exist in the absence of a youth arm which can enrich the debate, strengthen our resolve, and help in advancing the greater cause of this noble party. The YO, during its time, has pushed for programs of political education. It has represented the interests of the Jamaican youth within the broad framework of building political consciousness and articulating the party's philosophy in clearly defined language among the youth population. Over the years, successive members of its leadership have advanced the cause of youth within the party and the government, and I see a Minister of Government, Noel Ascott, sitting in the front row and giving testimony to that. Invariably, youthful impetuosity has always to be tempered by experience, which is neither a reflection of ideological impurity nor a descriptive reference to ideological weakness or vacillation. Comrades, ladies and gentlemen, the PNP has endured for 75 years because it has a clear mission which it has never abandoned, but has remained conscious at all times of the contemporary realities, global and local, which can never be ignored. New paradigms had to be constructed and conveyed in contemporary rhetoric. History will recall that the party rose to that task. The policies pursued by Michael Manley and the PNP on the party's return to power in 1989 and subsequently under my leadership were always guided by the compass of equality and social justice. We remain committed to the development of a quality society, and we reap the advantage of being a party committed to the people and our nation. But, as others have pointed out, there's a danger of poverty. There's a danger of apathy. Right across the world, questions are being posed with respect to structures of government, systems of good governance, and the levels of individual involvement in political organizations. People, including young people, want a stronger voice, a greater say on matters which affect their daily lives, and so they are hesitant to become engaged in the political arena. The world has grown increasingly restless. Interactive structures and institutions which have taken centuries to take root in shaping identity are now exposed to losing their place to new forms of association, some of which exist almost entirely in virtual space. Any political party or youth organization which fails to ride the sweeping tide triggered by the tremendous spread of information technology in the digital age does so at its mortal peril. The strategic use of social media, moving us beyond traditional methods of political organization, can be a powerful tool in averting political apathy. The flows of online communication exploding into civil and political unrest in various parts of the world, Brazil, the US, the UK, Egypt, demonstrate the significant role of the internet and online social media in national and global political change. Today, virtually everyone in Jamaica has at least one cell phone, which in today's smart media era has more reach and power than the mainframe computers of yesteryear, and also challenge the reach and effectiveness of traditional mass media channels. So we have to make use of that. Social media are now proving to be the best way to connect with our communities because of its viral nature. And we, as a political organization, including the YO, and dare I say, the G2K, have to know how to utilize the best strategies to achieve the desired outcome. But while we charge ahead with social media and all the bright opportunities offered, we must not abandon the true and tried grassroots networking strategies which allow us to physically introduce ourselves and our programs to those in our communities. For the YO to remain relevant as an important political and social vehicle, it also needs to draw on its collective genius to achieve the kinds of change you see as essential in moving forward. You must keep ahead of the curve and make today's youth who are heavily engaged in social media return to full engagement in the political process. Of course, there's a major difference between perception and reality on both sides of the political divide. But the outcome of young, talented citizens opting away from the political process through voting and membership is a worrying development. I hope I will not get into trouble when I say I prefer a young person to join the G2K than to be apathetic to politics altogether. Of course, they can make a much better choice, and I would seek to guide them otherwise. But what I'm saying is, get involved. As political parties and organizations, we have to recognize that there's a challenge. How do we retain our position of prominence and of relevance among our constituents? We have a mission to be among the motivators within our minds and strategies as we commemorate our 75th anniversary. As much as we conclude that our way of being, our constitution, our culture within the party, and how we organize have served us positively over the past 75 years, we must also accept and understand that we need to embrace a permanent commitment to transform and to achieve relevance and utility for our youth. For me, and at the vantage point from which I have participated, it is no longer either or. It has to be both. We are correct to celebrate and commemorate our history and our achievement, but that commemoration must not only be born out of nostalgia. It must be guided by a desire to continue to deliver on behalf of the people of Jamaica credible development options and programs that will achieve the value propositions set out in the Vision 2030 document. And you notice I have deliberately chosen a document that has been produced by two different political administrations. We have to find a way of combining our national effort for us to move forward together as a people and as a nation. Our commemoration has to be restated in a modern context that includes our commitment to participation, accountability, and responsibility. It has to be aligned with the abiding philosophy of the founders and pioneers that the People's National Party will unswervingly aim at all those measures which will serve the masses of the country. The issues of access and of representation have largely been resolved, but no one can deny that the issues of equality and of justice are at best works in progress. Moreover, the definitions and understandings of what justice, equality, and access mean are also changing to reflect the plurality of today's society and more so of today's youth. Such dynamism is a feature of human society. What therefore are political organizations to do? And what therefore is the role of young people within a political party? Political organizations, by their very nature, are in the business of leading social, economic, and human development. There cannot be an alien process to determine the agenda items for the populace as to their understanding or opinions of what social and economic development is. In other words, as was done many years ago, we need to articulate a vision and a response that would resonate with the populace. It has to begin with, include, and end with the active participation of the people. To remain ahead of the wave, youth are of necessity a key component of the process. I could put it this way: before we can walk the walk, we need to be able to talk the talk. But to talk the talk, we need to understand the language of the youth and of our people. We need to understand their motivations, their challenges, and their own idea of self-actualization. But it is not a one-way street. We must also infuse their motives and ideas with our principles and our own vision and understanding of the quality of society we seek to achieve on their and on our behalf as set out in Vision 2030. And so we intend to have a Declaration 75 as a tangible outcome of the transformation process that seeks to document where we are as a party with respect to the critical mass of the population and where they want to be. If it hasn't become clear, let me make it explicit. The role of young people in politics, the role of the youth organization within the People's National Party is inextricably linked to the survival and continued success of our national movement. Make no mistake, the relationship has to be symbiotic. Similarly, the youth organization, as it reaches its own maturity, must begin to appreciate that it too faces challenges of relevance, of attractiveness, and of credibility. We must grapple with the reality that an expansive and boundless constituency of young people with promise and potential are remaining on the political periphery to the detriment of our movement and our country's capacity to achieve the quantum leap that is required to close the equity gap. I have attempted in this first public lecture to address the question, conscience or chasm, and to do so within a historical and contextual framework, hopefully without indulging unduly in lexical semantics. I have spent considerable time in tracing the party's roots, which are so wide and deep, and its ideological origins, because I do not believe any of its branches can be entitled to the right to be the sole conscience of such a democratic movement. Neither do I think the YO would still be alive at 45 if there had been such a gulf or breaches of such severity that it would not have been dismembered long ago. The PNP-YO has been more of a catalyst than a chasm. I have therefore concluded that the YO has been and must continue to be the vanguard to ensure that the torch which was lit 75 years ago is never extinguished, that the synergies which exist must be nurtured and nourished. In politics, as in life, everything comes with a cost. The party that has a clear ideological framework must be prepared to pay the price for dialectics, if only because its absence comes at an even higher price. For without any binding agent, without a political creed, the personal conflicts and bitter squabbles are bound to be frequent and likely to occur through outbreaks of constant internecine warfare. As we mark this milestone of our 75th anniversary and the 45th of the YO, Let us draw strength from the rich legacy of our forebears, the noble traditions which have been entrenched, and the mission of full emancipation on which we have embarked, and move beyond today and march onward tomorrow. What better way can there be for me to end than by adopting the words which our founder uttered at the Ward Theatre on that historic Sunday, September 18, 1938. Norman Manley said, "If we start aright, if we never desert our own principles, if we believe in what we are aiming at, if we appreciate those who regard this country as their home, those who believe that a real civilization is possible for people of mixed origins, if we never allow people to deflect us from our goals, those who would like to continue to live in the feeling that Jamaica is the grandest little country to make their living in and the nicest country in the world to visit, if we can do those things and be true to what we believe in, true to the ideals we have started, and if we can combine that with hard work and practical intelligence, and with a readiness to do that work and show that intelligence in our own affairs, then I believe we will have created a movement which is like nothing else started in Jamaica, and make of this country a real place that our children will be proud to say, we come from Jamaica."
Ladies and gentlemen, could we have another round in applause? Comrade Pattison, once more, we are impressed and enlightened by the depth of your knowledge and the soundness of your thoughts, and indeed the eloquence of your delivery. Ladies and gentlemen, I now would like to pause to recognize the presence of Minister Noel Arscott, the Honorable Vice President of the People's National Party, and indeed former member of the leadership of the YO, and Member of Parliament, Denise Daly, Comrade Denise Daly. Please turn to your program, where you will see the torch lighting ceremony. I now invite Mr. Leroy Coe, Comrade Leroy Coe, the founding organizer of the People's National Party Youth Organization. Ladies and gentlemen, I remind you that the torch is a part of the party's anthem. So if you look at the back of your program, Jamaica Rise, we would like to sing that song upon the lighting of the torch.
The trumpet is sounded, countrymen all, awake from your slumber and answer the call. The torch has been lighted, the dawn is at hand. Who joins in the fight for his own native land? Land of my birth, I pledge to be loyal, faithful, true to thee. Heavy and the campaign long, the road may be dreary, the barrier strong, or progress may falter, and energies wane, but steadfast in spirit, goals we will gain. Land of my birth, I pledge to be loyal, faithful, true to thee. or efforts to crown. Let's all be united to build by His grace a nobler Jamaica, a loftier race. Land of my birth, I pledge to be loyal, faithful, true to Thee. One love, comrades. This afternoon, or this evening, was indeed an excellent one, and still is, because we move from here to the PMP HQ, where we will place the torch in its rightful place. Indeed, we were taken back in time. We were fed with information as to our history, where we are coming from, the good and the bad. And as such, this afternoon, we wish to thank the following categories of person. Namely, there are 3 categories, and as such, I will start with the first set of person. The persons that have participated in this evening's event. We wish to thank Comrade Pattison for sharing with us this afternoon our history, the good, as I said before, and the bad. We were informed of where we're coming from, the struggles, and as such, it was an informative and a very comprehensive lecture this afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for Comrade Pattison.